think a good zombie movie, or really any post-apocalyptic movie or story shines, is in its ability to show people from different walks of life banding together to overcome the odds, and even though they're butting heads the whole time and things are going wrong, it's the people that make a story like this. And the creator of these graphic novels really knew his stuff when he created these characters. It's a really great mix of humor as well as the kind of just jerks that you hate, that you love to hate. And then the writers for this show are great. I'm laughing, I'm crying, I'm gasping, all in the right moments.
Jeff Johns attempts to cherry pick from all the origins of Superman to create an Ultimate Superman origin that lasted for all of about a year and a half and now is completely wiped out with the new DCU. Regardless, Superman's secret origin attempts to give a new origin to the Man of Steel that's fresh and new. It's pointless to try to give a synopsis of this. It's the origin of Superman with a couple new twists, and I think that's a major problem with it. It really doesn't take any license with anything besides a couple things, and with those couple things, it really clashes with continuity.
I first became interested in the film when I found out that actor Stephen Maloney, known by most of you on the internet for his role as Dr. Jeremiah Arkham from the web series The Joker Blogs, would be starring in it. Alex and Murphy are incompetent. Everything they try to do in this movie, they fail at. From robbing houses to holding hostages. Alex more so, but I think that's just because he's the main character and, well, frankly, Murphy is the lucky SOB. The message behind the film is that materialism, or consumerism as they call it, is wrong, and that if you take a good look at all the effort and horrid things you do to own the materials in your life, items that are ultimately worthless, then you'd see it's just not worth the struggle and that some things are more important.
While the first is designed as a setup movie, I tend to lean towards part 2 in terms of its story, since the status quo is already established and we can have a fresh story to watch and not dedicate half of it to setup. When it comes to its follow-up, Ghostbusters 2 really does lag as a sequel. It doesn't expand or explore new territories or ideas in its mythos, and almost plays out as the first film, to the point of lifting identical scenes and events we've seen before. But it does have its moments like the ghost busting at the courtroom, the dancing toaster, and the Statue of Liberty.
Although, funny enough, in the very first issue of Superman, well, Action Comics to be more precise, the characters of Ma and Pa Kent don't exist. Superman was originally found by an orphanage and raised in an orphanage. The art in the comic book is very, well, simplistic and very much of the times. You can immediately tell that the whole comic was originally planned as a newspaper strip. It's easy to see why so many people enjoyed and fell in love with the character when it was first published, and why it became so unbelievably popular.
However, Gamera Guardian of the Universe is a reboot to that series of films that completely reinvents the character of Gamera for the better. For one, it's about as far away from being a Godzilla ripoff as a giant monster movie can get. There's a much more mystical element to Gamera and his enemy Gauss's characters, both being created by alchemists from Atlantis. Now, don't lose faith in this movie because I said that, since it's not silly at all. The film is a surprisingly dark yet enjoyable monster science fiction film that is just plain refreshing. The movie just makes me feel good after I watch it, since it's about as escapist as monster movies get.
The style, the thickness of the pages, the sort of 3 or 4 color format of the art is very akin to the, pulp style of printing old newspaper, strips and things like that as comic books. And what we see in the first couple of pages, a Superman who is breaking and entering and throwing thugs around much like he does in the New 52. And, very interestingly, I think, is a Clark Kent, though, who prefers anonymity, whereas in the New 52 he's boldly running around Metropolis with the S on his chest.
Yeah, he's got a big smile on his face because he's happy Batman. It's like, hey, I love you. Now I have to punch you in the face. Colors are very blue, very bright blue. Even for a campy Batman, it's pretty bright blue. Really soft, the material's soft. As you can see, the material on the blue actually feels a little bit different than the gray. Like the gray feels more of a silky, but this feels more like a blanket. It's very nice.